As we continue our story, we come to the Flint Hills region of Kansas, to here in Chase County, and this place of Cottonwood Falls. We continue to explore what the white settlers, as they moved into the region, what they brought with them. And today we're going to be looking at what they brought with them was their set of laws and their education. So I've come here, Chase County, Cottonwood Falls, to share with you the oldest and still functioning courthouse in the state of Kansas. Constructed in 1871, it's more than 150 years old now. And from the bottom to the top, it's 113 feet. It's said that this courthouse can be seen on a clear day any place in the county. Maybe that's iconic. That symbolism isn't lost on me, that no matter where you go into the state, laws is what holds us together. The cultural norms that hold people together are critical to an enduring civilization. When they're codified, they become a body of law. And without law, we've proven ourselves to fall into some of the most desperate places. Louis L'Amour, in his Western novels, he writes a story where it's a fictional story where the Sackett brothers were talking to a gang of outlaws out in Wyoming, I think. And the Sacketts asked the gang why had they come out there. And their comment was because law had moved into Kansas. And when law moves into an area, the gangsters, they have to leave. Maybe something that we've forgotten today, something that we need to remember. This old courthouse, it was constructed from limestone from the city quarry and walnut, from walnut trees that grew along the Cottonwood River. I'm gonna set up here, take a few shots. I'm parked on the north side of the courthouse, and just across the way from the courthouse, probably right in here, is where the Milky Way would come up through there. It might be challenging to get the picture because of you can see the street lights here. But I'm gonna try, and whatever I get, I'll share with you. I set up and took a couple of shots in the daytime. Share these with you. Then I'll come back and try to get a nightscape over this old courthouse. Let me tell you what I'm going to try to do here. This is all lit up, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get anything from the stars or not from the courthouse. So I'm going to try a couple of things. One is I'm going to give it a shot and see if I can pick up any of the Milky Way. I'm skeptical, but I'm going to try. Let me just show you what I've got here. You'll understand a little bit better. See all these lights? There's lights on everything, and lights on the courthouse itself. I'm going to take a shot from this location of the courthouse. It's lit up. It's really pretty, but I'm setting my camera up to 1/2 second on the shutter speed, ISO 100, and it's at f2. Take a couple of shots from this location, and then I'm going to move over and see if I can just sort of get a unique shot up toward the clock tower and the flag, and see if I get on that side of the lights. Maybe I'll get a little bit better exposure of the sky. So that's my plan, and let's get started. And we'll see how it goes. But first, I'm going to take this shot. The lights are really messing with me. I'm going to get on the other side, and I'll bring you with me over there. We'll set up, and what I'm going to try to do really is to take sort of a unique shot. I just want to try to focus on the clock tower and the flag, and then I'll take a shot beside that, and then yeah, see if I can do a panorama right there. Okay, so let's go on that side. You can tell it's really bright. I don't know if this is going to work. It looks like it might. So let me do a couple of things. First is I'm going to take this up high like this. I'll turn this so that it's in here this way. You look at photo pills. See where the Milky Way is coming up right now. And yeah, it's coming out there. So let me come around here. This might be okay if I can work with these trees. Just seems like everything wants to wrestle me right here. Let me show you what I have here. This is a really different shot. Okay, I'm going to set it to 3800 Kelvin, half-second shutter speed, f2, ISO 100. Take the shot. You know, I just don't know. It's a different shot than what I would be normally taking, but I think it could be unique, and sometimes you have to do what you got to do. The last shot I think I'm going to take, so I'm going to get right in front. I'm just going to take a front-on shot, try to get up high enough that I can get maybe some of the stars with the front of the old courthouse. Well, I was a little disappointed that I couldn't get the Milky Way here. It's just too bright, but I did get some good shots, I think, of this majestic courthouse. And my favorite shot was this composition up the main street and had the old courthouse in the center. And law is only durable as people who understand the importance of it. And that requires education. So now let's move into the schools of Prairie, Kansas. Another stop here in Chase County is a symbol of education on the prairies. Here, on the edge of the National Tallgrass Prairie Preserve near Strong City, Kansas, and I am at the Lower Fox Creek Schoolhouse. It's this one-room schoolhouse. It was built in 1882. The classes were held here for 46 years, from 1884 up to 1930. It's built of limestone and cypress, has pine wood floors. It's this small 24 by 30 foot building that was added to the National Register of Historic Places September the 6th, 1974. It sits here proudly on the edge of the preserve here in these beautiful Flint Hills. When I hiked the Flint Hills Trail, I mentioned that tallgrass prairie once extended from Saskatchewan, Canada, through the central United States and down to Mexico. This is the largest contiguous section of tallgrass prairie left in North America. The first explorers, as they came out through this way, called this the Great American Desert, because they we're not accustomed to seeing such open spaces. These prairies are anything but desert. But hundreds of wild mustangs still run wild through these Flint Hills, and well, right over there is a herd of bison. This little school building's the perfect foreground to take this episode of the Milky Way shots. The Milky Way will rise in the southern skies about 4:30 in the morning. Do you ever feel small, maybe insignificant? You know, when I get out under all of these stars, I realize just how small I am. But I don't feel insignificant. I'm part of this. And out here on the edge of this preserve is this small schoolhouse. This is the Lower Fox Creek Schoolhouse. Now, how I'm planning to do this is a series of shots. I'm going to do about 4 shots in the foreground to get the land and then the schoolhouse. In order to do that, I'm raising my ISO to 6400. I'm shooting at 10 seconds of shutter speed. And the aperture is at 1.4. This is a Sigma 16 millimeter 1.4 lens. So I'll do 4 photos across the front. And then I'm going to do a series of 4 photos just above that at the rooftop level to start to get the Milky Way. And then I'll do 4 more photos above that. And then I'll stitch that all together in a panorama. The clouds are starting to roll in, but I still think that I can do it okay. I hear turkeys out here. I heard an owl earlier. It's about 4:30 in the morning, and the Milky Way is just now starting to rise over the horizon. So let me set this all up, take the series of shots, and then I'll bring it back and show you what the results were. After taking this first panorama with 9 shots, 3 rows of 3 shots each, I moved back and I took the second one. And this is actually 12 shots of 3 rows of 4 each. And you can see the clouds have moved in and sort of gave a shadow effect to the Milky Way as it rose over the little schoolhouse. I was never really satisfied with these pictures, so I took advantage while I was here in the area to come back over on this beautiful night, and I'm so glad I did. Education was key to any enduring civilization. It still is. And here, in these little prairie schools, they taught the fundamentals of education to the children of the pioneers and the settlers who came this way. This is the historic Oak Grove School here in southeastern Neosho County, just outside of Parsons, Kansas. The school was built in 1877. If you come here, you'll be traveling down this gravel road for a few miles, and then you'll arrive here. Looks like they've got some air conditioning out here now. Of course, that wasn't here in 1877 when this school was built and when the students came here. So the winters would have been cold and the summers hot. The Oak Grove School was built facing the only road that existed here in 1877. That was the Osage Trail. Prior to 1865, the Neosho River Valley, including this site, was part of the Osage Reservation. One time, a large Osage village was located just east of here, adjacent to a popular ford across the Neosho River. The ford is known to early settlers as Trotter's Ford. It was an integral part of the Osage Trail network. The principal routes of the Osage Trail stretch from southwest Missouri to southeast Kansas, the Osage Continental Trail, and from northeast Kansas southward to northeast Oklahoma, the Osage Trail. U.S. government survey maps from 1865 show these two great trails actually intersected here. The Osage Continental Trail crossed the Neosho at Trotter's Ford, and then it meandered westward up and over a bluff about 1 mile east of here. Then the trail turned south through the middle of section 25, passing near the location of the original Oak Grove Log Schoolhouse and Cemetery. The Osage Trail wasn't just used by the Osage throughout the 1800s, but it was also by the U.S. military during the Civil War, and by the thousands of settlers who migrated to southeast Kansas after the war, including Washington Irving, the Charles Eagles family from Little House on the Prairie, and the posse that searched for the notorious Bender families during the spring of 1873. In her first novel of Little House on the Prairie, in Chapter 2, Laura Ingalls Wilder tells the story of her family crossing a flooded river. Her detailed description points to Trotter's Ford being the location where all of this happened. So when you stand in front of the Oak Grove Schoolhouse today, you're standing where the Ingalls family traveled on their way down to the river. Well, here I am at the Oak Grove School, and it's 2:30 in the morning. I just had the opportunity to take the shot. It's not ideal because, as you can see, maybe the moon is up right there, and that's going to create some problems for the Milky Way. But I think I can get it. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a series of shots. Panorama will be 2 images wide and 3 images tall, for a total of 6 images. And I'm going to do the entire scene at, let's see, I got it set to 8-second shutter speed, ISO 3200, and an f1.8. That will be for the sky shot. I have these little Ulanzi LED lights. They're amazing because you can change the temperature of the light, and you can change the intensity of the light. I'm going to set them off to the sides to sort of cross light the face of the school, and then I'm going to take a different shot. There I'll bring it down to about 2-second shutter speed. I'll raise the aperture up to about f4 and then refocus it on the schoolhouse and take those shots. Then I'll blend all that together when I get home at the studio. Another problem I've got, not only is the moon up, but there's this street light right here. And that is also giving me a little challenge. So what I've done, I have a light pollution filter that I've put on the lens. So let me take these shots, and then I'll get home and put it all together. The moon and the street light did give me challenges and tended to blow out the edges of the frame, but this was the composition I got without the filter. Then I put a light pollution filter on my lens. I took a second series of shots. I knitted them together. Still, you can see the light pollution challenges on the lower edges, but overall, this was not a bad shot. So as this new culture rode across the plains and established their place here, they had law and they had education. All of that was undergirded by their faith. And in the next episode, we'll move into faith on the prairie. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, stay on the path. God bless you.